I want to talk about an unfortunate reality that many of us have gone through at some point in our lives. When we lose our job, it's a very hard and stressful situation. We may start thinking of all of the various consequences and how it's going to affect our lives, how we're going to deal with it. Although it's hard to be prepared for when that time actually happens, there are some financial matters that we can take care of if and when it actually does happen. Joining us live this morning is Howard Dvorkin, the chairman of Debt.com, to share some ideas you can use if you lose your job or if someone you know loses their job or gets laid off. Howard Dvorkin is a serial entrepreneur, a two-time author, a CPA, and a personal finance contributor to Forbes and Entrepreneur.com, and a community service champion. Good morning, Howard. Thanks so much for being with us. It is great to be with you once again.
Thanks so much for having me, John. It's great to hear your voice.
Well, this is an interesting topic, and just about all of us know what it's like to lose our job or to be laid off. What is the first thing that comes to mind that someone should do after they find out that they've been given the pink slip?
Listen, there's a lot of companies, although employment is relatively high, actually historically high in this country, a lot of the bigger companies are laying people off because they hired so many people during COVID. They actually overhired and they're paring back. And it may come as a surprise. Also, people like to do this remote work, and companies are saying, no, get back into the office. And if you don't have a job. So people need to first look at their finances. I mean, all of a sudden you're working, things are going by, and you're probably struggling with living paycheck to paycheck anyway. A lot of us do. And you're talking, and myself including, you go through, and I've been laid off before. I mean, it's not a good feeling. In fact, I'm the worst employee ever. So I get fired all the time from when I was working for somebody. And that's why I basically had to become a entrepreneur and start companies. But the first thing you do is check out your finances. What does this look like? Go through, and what are the benefits, the unemployment benefits that your state offers? Every state is different, so understand that. Some you have to be employed for a week, some is more. Most is a week. And then you could start collecting. Basically, things such as health insurance. Where's my health insurance? Do I have coverage? Should I do COBRA? COBRA is an extension when you're employed and your company lays you off or you get fired. You're eligible to continue on their health insurance, except there's no contribution from the company, so you have to pay the full boat, which is quite expensive sometimes. But my recommendation is never let your health insurance lapse, because you never know. You don't want to find out that you have a problem right after while being unemployed. Third is look at your budget. Go through and make sure that what you're spending every month is necessary. If you have a lot of delivery services coming to your door every night or every day, bringing you food, start cooking yourself. Learn how to cook. It's a good hobby. You got plenty of time these days. Overall, be on the lookout. Be on the hunt for new opportunities, but try to stay busy. There's a lot of opportunities with different companies to do part-time work or even Uber driver or Lyft driver, something that's short-term that you could get in and out of. So my suggestion is keep the money coming in. And this is going to surprise you, John. You have to be first, meaning take care of yourself first. I'm sure a lot of us have families and you want to make sure they're taken care of. Right now, if you don't take care and focus on yourself, it's going to affect your family, your loved ones. So focus on your health, focus on creating an income for yourself, and go have peace of mind. That's extremely important, meaning have confidence. Don't think you're the victim. Also, see if the dismissal was legitimate. I mean, I've seen a lot of companies fire a lot of people for the wrong reasons, so make sure that they're within the law as well. But that does take time. Immediately go figure out where the next dollars are coming from. That's the key.
And part of that peace of mind for people of faith is that oftentimes when a door closes, the good Lord opens up another door. You just never know when that door is going to open up for you. I want to bring in our listeners really quick. If you have any other practical ideas based on your own experience or any tips on what to do when you lose your job, if you recently lost your job and you have a question or comment that you'd like to run by our expert, we're taking your call. For Howard Dvorkin, the chairman of Debt.com, at 888-914-9149, 888-914-9149. We only have Howard for a few more minutes. Can you talk about the importance of having an emergency fund? And this is obviously a basic fundamental of having a budget. It's not just only when you lose your job.
Well, John, a lot of experts, such as myself, talk about this. And having an emergency fund. It's, the rule of thumb is have 6 months cash available in case something happens, like you get unemployed, you get sick, or something along that. 6 months is an awful lot of money. I mean, for somebody that's making $50,000 a year, to have 6 months available, that's $25,000 or somewhere like that. And essentially, that's really unrealistic, especially if you're carrying debt. But certainly you need a couple months, 2 to 3 months, cash available. And you should put away and constantly put away and invest that money and put it into a high-yielding cash account. I don't suggest emergency funds be put into a stock market riskier investment because there's volatility, and when you need that money and you get laid off, all of a sudden the stock market might crash and it may be worth half as much. And that did happen, if you remember, in the Great Recession and certainly during the pandemic. Stock market crashed. All of a sudden, people's money is that they have saved is worth half as much, especially when you need it. That's problematic. It's interesting that, people do find faith when there's challenges in their life. And certainly when you're challenged, you go to your local church. And I have been able to recruit for Debt.com a tremendous amount of people out of the religious institutions during tough times, because those are good people. They're dedicated. They're focused on their religion. They're focused on their family. So as a large employer, we love hiring folks out of churches and referrals of churches. So don't be afraid to ask your pastor or your priest or whomever within the church to see if they know of anybody that's hiring, because we've gotten great long-term employees out of that. So it is, don't lose your faith, because God is everywhere.
And the good Lord can work even through social media. We can be proactive with when it comes to our digital footprint and let people know on LinkedIn or any other way that we're looking for a job and that we've been laid off.
Absolutely. It's very, very important, John, to go through and build your network and reach out to your network and say, hey, I have free time now, so don't be shy. This is time to be aggressive, get yourself out there, and basically understand that be strong. It's tough. Nobody likes rejection, but as you said earlier, when one door shuts, another one opens, and that's very important. And, at Debt.com, we see this all the time because people tend to look at their finances. They have the time to look at their finances. And we're going to go through and try to help those people and give them great suggestions on how to maintain their finances and not get themselves in trouble. One last thing that I want to mention, if you do get yourself in trouble, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and tell your lenders that you don't have a job, because sometimes they'll let you defer a payment, maybe put a mortgage payment to the back of your mortgage instead and give you maybe 1 or 2 months to get back on your feet. So don't be shy. Reach out and certainly go to Debt.com, and there'll be some great information if you find yourself in this situation of unemployment and unfortunately reduced income coming into the household.
Final moment, about 30 seconds. Obviously, you can't rely on unemployment. You're just not going to get enough money. Should you consider doing something, even if it's not the most ideal job, in the meantime, until you find that job that you're actually looking for?
Absolutely. You should never be too proud to do what you need to do to make sure that income is coming into that house and your family is fed and you're fed and the bills are being paid. So if you have to deliver newspapers, deliver newspapers. If you have to become an Uber driver, as I said, there's plenty of companies out there that hire part-time people while you continue your search. Starbucks is a great opportunity. And by the way, even when you get full-time employment, you can still keep a part-time job. And they're willing to have you, then everybody is looking for great people. So don't be too proud.
We'll have to leave it right there. As always, thank you so much, Howard. Really appreciate your very practical advice.
Thanks so much, John, and God bless you, and God bless your listeners.
God bless you, too, as well. Personal finance expert Howard Dvorkin, the chairman of Debt.com.